Hi, this is Janet Gallen welcoming you to an episode of Love Letters Live. And my guest today is just wonderful. I mean, every guest I've had is wonderful. And Miracle Pelayo is wonderful in her own way. And you're going to get to see that. Miracle, I'm just going to go right to you. Say hello.
Hello, everybody. My name is Miracle Pelayo. And Janet, thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for saying yes. Yes is my favorite word. So let's start with that you really are a miracle and why you got that name. And do you want to start with I don't know, your mother's pregnancy and dive right in?
Yeah, sure. Once again, hello, everybody. My name is Miracle Pelayo. And how I got my name is I'm a preemie survivor at 23 weeks. And I weighed 1 pound, 2 ounces. Then I went to 14 ounces. And my mom, what caused the premature labor was my mom got sick with a kidney infection. And so she went into labor with me when she was 4 months, 4 months into the pregnancy. And so because of that, the doctors, um, she went into labor and my mom didn't take any medicine. She didn't have like a C-section because I was already like about to enter into the
Almost
world.
there,
So
yeah. Well,
yeah,
what advice was your mother given by the doctors?
they they said that if my mom were to carry me to full term, that it would have expired us both. And so they told my mom that I had a 5% chance of survival. I was going to be a vegetable for the rest of my life. At the time, they used the word retarded.
Wait,
I would
the
be,
doctors actually said this out loud?
yes, yes. The doctors, both my parents actually, that I had a 5% chance of survival, and if I did survive, I would be retarded, blind, deaf, deformed. And so, because of that, the doctors wanted my mom to terminate the pregnancy. Um, and so I'm just gonna say it. They wanted my mom to have an abortion with me. But my mom said, no, my daughter's going to live and we're going to put our little girl in God's hands. And long story short, I was UCI Irvine's first preemie to survive. I was in the NICU for 4 months and I came home just in time for Mother's Day in 1993. So yeah.
And
And I found
did they name you Miracle right away?
Well, originally my name was going to be Rosemary, but the doctors kept well, the nurses that took care of me, I got to tell you, Janet, NICU nurses, God bless them, like they kept calling me, oh, she's a little miracle. She's a little miracle. And that's my nickname, Little Miracle. And so God gave me the name Miracle Mary. And so he named me.
Let me ask you something. Were you so you were 14 ounces and then obviously you went home and you grew to be this beautiful girl.
Yes.
Did did you have any setbacks because of this in your
Oh,
growing up? Was
yes.
anything difficult in
I
development?
Yes, I was diagnosed with spastic diplegia cerebral palsy at 8 months old.
Now,
And
how did the doctors know to?
so normally when babies crawl, they use their front legs like one leg in front of the other, like left, right, left, right, left, right. I was doing what's called a combat crawl, where your legs are like this and you pull yourself up. And so my parents took me to a pediatrician
Uh-huh.
and they're like, put her on the floor, let's see what's going on. And they also noticed that my muscles were getting really, really tight, like my tendons were basically coming out of the socket. And that's what was causing a lot of pain. And so they officially diagnosed me with cerebral palsy. And so cerebral palsy is caused by lack of oxygen in the brain because I was only getting about 5%. So that's caused by muscle tightness, lack of muscle control, and it also affects your balance.
So what was the next step for your parents to do once they had this diagnosis?
They took me to I forget the name of the children's hospital, but they took me to Utah to have my first surgery to loosen my hamstrings and
Oh, so
my
you got surgeries to help.
yes. Yes, and it included 4 surgeries. I've been in a cast for my legs about 4 times.
Uh-huh.
So, and then when I was 14, I developed a 5-inch, 10-inch cyst in my stomach.
Oh,
It was basically caused by all the traumas from the surgeries. And so we took that cyst out and it, having cerebral palsy, it just created a lot of like upper respiratory issues and, a lot of doctor visits and things like that. I had asthma as a kid, but I've just always managed to say, you know what? I'm so sorry. This is just a part of my story. And
yes,
I know that my disability is going to be used for a greater purpose.
for you. So when did you first start realizing, well, so you went to school and when did
Yeah.
you start realizing that you had some real talents?
So my school education, I was in special ed from kindergarten up until seventh grade.
Was that okay?
Yes. I was actually mainstreamed. I went from special ed to regular ed when I was in seventh grade. I had amazing teachers that really pushed me to get to the next level because the teachers noticed that I would be picking up the material too quickly. And I had a teacher that said to me in seventh grade, "You're too smart to be in special ed. You need to be in regular ed classes now." And we got all the IEPs and, had all the school administrations talk to my parents, and I went into regular ed. And so when I was in seventh grade, so I was held back in third grade twice because of my surgeries. I was having surgeries back to back. And so my mom wanted me to just, the teachers told me, you know what, because she's going through so much with surgeries, let's keep her in third grade for one more year. I think they said it was really gonna benefit me. And sure enough, it did because it
You get
just
a chance to slow down and catch
yeah,
up, it sounds like.
yeah. And at the time I didn't really understand what was happening, but I'm forever grateful for the teachers really like saying, no, let's keep her back one more year so she can catch up. And and so that really, really helped me out. And so when I was about 14, going back to your original question, um, I was a part of a boys and girls club called Winners on Wheels when I was 7 years old. And we had
I'm sorry, say it slowly. What kind of club?
it was a boys and girls club, like
Boys and girls. Okay.
to hang out and do like stuff, to go on like field trips with and do things on the weekends and
Were you using a wheelchair all along?
yes,
Okay.
yes, wheelchair and walker. I use both.
Mhm.
And so we would hang out together and do things on the weekends and around Halloween and Christmas time we had a performing arts group called Kids on Stage for a Better World that was a triple threat group and I actually became friends with the one of the members of the group. Her name is Michaela Murphy, and she is also an actor. And so we grew up together. And so I was really like, something moved me to join Kids on Stage, but I thought that they weren't going to accept me because I was in a wheelchair and all these other kids were able-bodied.
So I was going to ask you about that. So what were friendships like? Was it easy? I mean, how could it
It
not
was
be friends with you? You're so cute.
it was pretty easy as a kid, but I'm gonna be legit honest with you. Because I had a one-on-one aide with me all the time from kindergarten up until high school, that also brought on a lot of bullying because kids did not understand what was the requirement for somebody with a disability.
And what
Um,
was the requirement?
like having a one-on-one aide to take me to the bathroom or be with me in the classroom, like, because I needed help with certain things like taking notes or making sure that I left the class early to beat the line because I went to a high school where there was 4,000 kids.
Wow.
So but going back
Tell me
to
what city you live in?
I live in Los Angeles, so I went to like Downey High School, East Middle School, and Unsworth Elementary. So I had one-on-one aides with me from kindergarten up until I graduated high school.
And you
So
that was hard for you?
no, it wasn't necessarily hard for me. What was hard on me was the bullying that came along with
Oh,
kids not understanding that that was what I needed.
so did you suffer bullying?
I did, that's why like my mom would have to come down to the school a lot and say, hey, you know what, my daughter has every single right to be in public school. I even had an experience where I was a junior in high school. I was about to go sit at the lunch table,
Mhm.
and there were these group of girls that were sitting at the table that I wanted to sit at, and they got up and left. And I remember I told my mom, I was like, "Can I please be homeschooled? Can I please be homeschooled again? Because this is just becoming too much." But my mom was like, "You know what? You can either hide from it or you can embrace it and say, 'Hey, I have every right to be here.'"
But did
And
you ever get a chance to talk to those girls? Or
um,
did the
well,
teachers?
it was actually the principal that talked to them.
You know
And
what the principal
it
said?
was the principal that talked to them and say, "Hey, you know what? She's a junior in high school. You guys are freshmen. Not cool. You need to apologize to her right now."
Oh, I was going to ask if, and did they?
They did, and they felt bad, but I was like, "It's okay." And I said, Just because you see the wheelchair, that doesn't give you a pass to take advantage of me. I
Yeah,
am my own person, and I'm sorry that your heart feels this way, you
good for
know?
them.
Yeah.
Did,
And so
did they respond in any way when you said that?
they they just apologized, and I feel like having the experience of being bullied
Mhm.
really taught me how to fight for my voice. And
Okay.
so in a way, I'm grateful that those moments happened, because without it, I wouldn't have, I mean, of course I would have spoken up. I don't think I would have had the opportunity to use my voice the way that I did.
Now tell me how you've ended up using your voice.
So, going back to your original question of like the Boys and Girls Club that I was in, Winners on Wheels, that's what it was called.
Winners
It
on Wheels?
Yes, in Long Beach,
By the way,
California.
I happen to know several people who use wheelchair. They've got some fabulous looking wheelchairs out there these days.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And I have a
You have
colors
one
wheel.
that's fancy?
Well, my wheelchair is pink. I
Oh, there
love
you
pink.
go. Okay.
I
Yeah.
love pink, and my wheelchair is actually a colors wheelchair.
Okay.
Um, and so like, when I was in Winners on Wheels for about from 9 years old up until about maybe 13.
What did they do?
So we did like we would do like really really amazing like trips. We went on boat rides. We did like TV interview appearances. We had a mascot in a wheelchair named Willy Willy, and he was very very popular. And so when kids on stage would perform for us, like they would perform for us when we would have like Halloween or Christmas parties, and they would do singing and dancing and acting, and I would just really, really gravitated towards that, because when I was 12 years old, my parents took me to go see The Miracle Worker in the play on my 12th birthday. And I realized that the actress playing Helen Keller was able-bodied, playing a disabled character.
Mhm.
And I turned to my dad and I said, "Watch me change that one day. I'm going to show people that whether you're sitting up or standing up, you can make your dream happen." And so let's see. I
I,
didn't.
long ago, I happened to see a very good looking young man, and he used a wheelchair. I forgot why, but he did. And somebody had said to him, "Does it bother you when people see the wheelchair?" And he said, "No, it doesn't bother me when they see the wheelchair, just so they see who's sitting on it." Uh,
Yeah, exactly. I don't mind people asking me about, how I got my disability. What bothers me is when they stare without questioning
or
what happened. I want people to start asking more questions for people with disabilities instead of automatically staring.
a nice thing to let people know to do.
Yeah, I think
I
because
think I think people may feel that it would make you or anybody else feel uncomfortable to be asked questions, so they don't.
right. But the way that I look at it, Janet, is like questions start with an open conversation, because if you don't ask questions, how are you going to know about the person? I think
You have
people,
brothers and sisters?
huh?
You have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I do. I have two older brothers and one younger sister.
Oh, so you've got a nice big family.
Very, very big family. And I have five nieces and one nephew. And then I also have a goddaughter as well.
Okay, so you're surrounded by a lot of family love in addition
Yes.
to now
Oh
the
my gosh. Yes.
friends with the other people, the people on Winners on Wheels. Was that all teenagers or was it any?
It was mostly kids leading up into adulthood.
Uh-huh.
So um when I so going back to how I started in the industry, like I grew up, my dad would always videotape me on our family video camcorder, and it was one of those that would convert into a VHS tape back in the day. And my dad would always videotape me and he would say miracles on TV, miracles on TV, and I literally thought I had my own TV show. And so he would always videotape me on the camera. And if the camera wasn't on me, I would throw the biggest tantrum you would ever see in your entire life. And so my parents were like, okay, she loves the camera and she loves the center of it. She loves being the center of attention. And, being the middle child, of course, I wanted to be the center of attention. And so right after the miracle worker happened and I had that epiphany, that's when I got into performing because my parents would have me in singing lessons and I love to perform. And so when I got into Kids on Stage, after I saw them perform for us in Winners on Wheels, I became really close friends with Michaela Murphy, who is now a voiceover actor.
And so
And
what performances have you done?
like I've done theater. Funny story about the singing. So I did it for a while, and then my mom was like, honey, I love you, but the way that you're singing is not how she was mother knows best. And she said, honey, I love you, but you sound like one of the Alvin and the Chipmunks dying. So
So do something, what, with your other talent,
do
right?
something else, please, please, please. And I was like, huh?
Go
And so I was like, okay, can I get into acting? Because I love performing anyway. And she's like, yeah, yeah, let's do that. And so my very first professional audition was for Kids on Stage, and I was worried that they wouldn't accept me, and because I would be the only disabled member in a wheelchair. But after I became friends with Michaela, I stood in contact with her, and then eventually at 14, I asked her mom if she can get me into an audition for Kids on Stage.
on.
And so, long story short, I did an audition for them, and I made it into the group, becoming the only disabled member in the group. And so, I did over 30 shows with them, and
Wow.
I took my final bow in 2009. And during around that time, I was performing in theater in middle school and in high school. My teachers were very accommodating to me, and including high school. I was the second lead actress in all the plays. And so after I graduated high school, my dad took me to SAG-AFTRA to have an informational meeting on how to get an agent. And right as I was about to leave the building, Gail Williamson
Oh, sure, I know her.
stopped
Yes.
me from leaving, and she said, I want to represent you. I'm a talent agent for actors with disabilities. And so I was with KMR for about 10 years. And my very first co-star role was with Alan Tudyk in a web series called Con Man. And then Bella and the Bulldogs happened in 2016. And that was when I became the first actress in a wheelchair to be on the kids television network for Nickelodeon. And
Wonderful. So
it was,
you've got a lot of experience here. I mean,
yes,
you're on the road. So I have a slightly different question because you refer to yourself as a fashionista.
yes.
I have a handful of photographs of you. I'm gonna anyway. They are so adorable, and you have
Thank
such
you.
a fine sense of style.
Thank you so
And,
much.
I mean, it's just Vogue magazine.
Oh my,
And
thank
I have,
you.
but I have a question.
Yeah,
Years ago, it's not my business to do this really, but I can't help asking.
ask
Um,
away.
Years ago, there was a mother it was a Mormon family, and
Uh-huh.
the daughters were trying to find prom dresses, and everything was just bare and not modest, and just none of these kids could wear it.
Hmm.
They couldn't go with their midriff showing and cleavage, and
Right,
that
right,
was just not acceptable.
right.
So they ended up, having dresses that were remade and homemade, and they were just kind of clunky looking. And this one mother thought that there's got to be some beautiful line of clothes for Mormon girls whose cultural rules are you can't go out in the street
Mhm.
looking, you know. And um, so she went to, I think it was to Neiman Marcus, some
Mhm.
big department stores made a proposal that
Mhm.
they start having a line of beautiful clothes for girls in Mormon families who need
Yes.
to be dressed modestly. And well, Neiman Marcus did it. And not only did they get all the Mormon business, they
Mhm.
got Catholic families where their girls were not encouraged to, a lot of families where modesty is important.
Yes.
They did so well. So my question to you is, since you use a wheelchair and lots of people use wheelchairs,
Mhm.
I am thinking that there has to be certain clothing that's better than other clothing for people in
Yes.
wheelchairs.
Yes. In fact, it's so interesting that you say that because in 2018, I did a commercial for Tommy Hilfiger Adaptive, which is a clothing line for people with disabilities. And so in the commercial, I'm actually using a shirt that's a magnet button instead of a normal button.
That never
Well,
even occurred to me. Okay.
huh?
That never even occurred to me. That's so nice
Yeah,
to know. I was thinking more of things that drape beautifully and don't wrinkle
right.
and accessories that really pop out. Okay, so magnet buttons, great.
So, and then he also has instead of a belt, it's like it's Velcro.
Uh-huh.
And so doing that commercial, what was really special about it is I actually got to do it with my sister. And so I would love to see more companies being more open to
Okay.
adaptive
So
fashion.
that's what I wanted to ask you about. Given your style, which again is just so wonderful. I mean, ugh, I can't even begin, but what if you went to stores and said, how about a special line of class
That is
like
that is exactly what I want to do. And I
okay,
want to start with my one of my biggest dreams is to
and
be
then fashion shows
yes.
where all of you, I mean, it doesn't have to be everybody in a wheelchair, but maybe in a rocker or walker or a
Yeah,
variety of
I mean, there is and it's so interesting that you say that because there is actually a fashion show in New York called The Runway of Dreams, and it's for people with disabilities who who are wearing an adaptive clothing line.
Mhm.
And so, and I would love to see Target, JCPenney's, Macy's.
You, you and your mother and father could figure this out. You're all smart people.
Yeah,
And go to the stores and propose it to them
yes,
and have just, a lunch and fashion show at different whatever. Oh, I'm going to count on you to do this. I think it would be great. And by the
and
way, when you say disabilities, that's such a wide variety of
yeah,
things. So, I mean, I look at somebody, you refer to yourself as with a disability. I don't see the disability. I see you're just roaring down the street of success.
thank you.
There are people who consider themselves in for example, little people.
Hmm.
Hey, a line of clothing that is just as chic it could be, but meant for a different body proportion
Yes,
and meant to look best when you're sitting down.
yes,
You'll figure it out. Would you
yeah.
consider doing that?
I would, that's one of my biggest goals to do. I mean, my whole thing
Behind you,
on
your
social
parents will be
media,
behind you and get you to the stores, and
yes,
you.
I would I would really, really love to do that. That's honestly why I wanted to do commercials because I want people to be more open-minded, not just in the acting industry, but also in the fashion industry.
It seems to me, I mean, you're probably a wonderful actress, but I know what you are in fashion. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
And
you. And so, um, but and then another world that I'm trying to really navigate is the voiceover world.
oh,
Um,
sure.
and so, like my very first voiceover project was for American Girl doll.
Oh,
And so I'm the voice of the first American Girl doll with cerebral palsy named Lily in the
great
YouTube
for
series
you.
American Girl Doll, The Travel Twins on YouTube Kids.
Good.
And that for me was, I mean, of course, I'm forever grateful for Nickelodeon and, you know, Alan Tudyk, but that really showed me how important disability representation is so important to have because when that opportunity happened, I got so many messages from parents all over the world saying, "Thank you for being a voice for my daughter."
Yes,
And like,
and you're going to get those same messages when they're buying clothes that you design or help design
yes,
and feel like queens and kings for the
yes.
guy.
And so like my whole thing with social media and fashion content, my thing is I want to show people that you can make cerebral palsy beautiful one outfit at a time. It doesn't matter what you wear.
There
It
you
just
go. Okay.
what matters is that you're showing who you are from inside of your heart.
Yes, you want to be able to, for all of us, you want to be able to present
Yes.
yourself as the best possible you
Mm-hmm.
with your energy. So I have another question because, I'm mostly about, well, not mostly, but largely about the power of letters.
Yes.
And my question is, if you were to write a love letter right now, who would it be to?
That is a really, really beautiful
And
question.
by the way, I'm saying that, and it doesn't have to be one. It can be to any of those teachers or all of them. I mean, it means you have to, sit and do it. Are you comfortable writing?
Oh my God, I write in a journal every day, honestly.
Writing.
Yes.
Good, perfect. Because, handwriting's important if you can do it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't want to lose it, you know? I don't want to lose my penmanship.
Right. Good for you. But not everybody can do the same things. So I mean, there's your parents and your siblings and your teachers. And I'm just wondering, I mean, I know I'm not supposed to really give homework, but sometimes I can't help it. What about a letter to the CEOs of some of the big stores?
That I would seriously love to do that.
Find out who it is and just, get a couple of names and design a letter that I'm going to call a love letter because you're offering what you do in a spirit of love
Mhm.
and to present what you want to do and why you want to do it and how it will benefit the store and how
Mhm.
you know that this CEO of the store is an open-hearted um, person who
Yes.
wants to see everybody shine.
Mhm. It's really interesting. About four, no, 4 years now. About 4 years ago, something was pulling on my heart to do. So, starting in November of 2019, I started doing fashion content photo shoots. And my first one was with my friend Maddie Ullman, who is actually a photographer with cerebral palsy.
Mhm.
And so we did a photo shoot at the Grove in LA. And I wasn't expecting what an impact those pictures would have. And then 4 years ago, I did another fashion content photo shoot with my friend Leah Hubner, who's an amazing photographer. And I did a behind the scenes footage of the photo shoot, and I wasn't expecting it to go viral. And so I love to collaborate with people on whether it's a photo shoot or an acting project to open up the doors for inclusion matters.
Yes.
And so I would love to see more fashion retail stores to do the exact same thing. I
Okay,
mean,
so you're gonna be in charge of that, right?
yes.
I mean, you're an in charge person. I can see that. I want to thank you for doing this with me. It's just such a pleasure to meet you and talk to you. And
Thank you.
personal question that you could say yes or I'm just, how old are you?
I'm almost 32. I'll be 32 in December.
Okay, I'm not good with age, so I can never tell how old anybody is. So, okay, I was just curious. So you had years of experience that you're bringing to whatever, you can mention that too, of course. Okay, will you, if you have the time and energy, just be in touch with me and let me know how it's working out, this
Yes,
fashion?
I will.
Would
I
you?
will for sure.
Okay, honey, thank you so much. I,
Thank you for having me.
you're just gonna open up even more new worlds for people. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna take you.
I will definitely keep in contact with you soon.
Please do. And thank you again for doing this with me. And I look forward to whatever brings us together next.
Likewise.
Thank you,
Thank you.
dear.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. I'm going to